Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gents. And here we have another game of 0 AD. And in this game I will be playing as the Seleucids against the Carthaginians. And my opponent is Dakairas, and he's a good player. And if there is a significant skill difference between the two of us, Dakairas would be the better of us. And we see that Dakairas has a start which is a little bit different than most players would, but it doesn't probably matter too much. There has been a lot of discussion about the Carthaginians and their mercenary cavalry, which they can train in phase 2. And Carthaginians also can afford to go for an early phase 2 to get access to those excellent mercenaries. And that's exactly what the Carthaginian player will do. And we will see if that is uncountable by the Seleucids or whether there's a way to get past that. And for now we will see just players preparing the game, and this storehouse seems a little bit odd. I would rather have placed it here myself, and I also think this farmstead is late. Dakairas sends 9 women to berries, and if he did a different opening he would have already been able to have the wicker baskets upgrade, and that would give him faster food collection, but instead he has sent a lot of women to berries, and that's really not needed as far as I think. When we look at his resources, he is keeping them low, just like I do, so that's not really a problem, so no mistakes made there. This farmstead is probably not placed in the best position. Maybe there was other berry bush here. It's currently the best in the way. Dakairas has 9 on food, and he has found extra berries, and I do have extra berries as well. And the way I try to get some extra food is not only by having several women on food, but also by making a few extra cavalry and using them effectively. And these cavalry units aren't really as effective as mine. They need to walk a lot more, and I'm also bringing the deer towards my farmstead, so that's a little bit bonus to get ahead. This is probably not the best way in which you can chop wood. You could probably better have your lumberjacks cutting at this tree than these ones, than the ones that are far out. As these trees go, probably some will go to the closed ones. So there isn't much happening right now. There are even more extra berries which Dakairas will use. Here are some extra berries as well. And if we look to the populations, we see that I do have 33 infantry women, and Dakairas has a larger population, so he has been able to put ahead, and that's probably because he just had a lot of women on food in the start, and he is currently training, or he's all the time training units in batches of 5, so that really helps. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, he seems to be just a little ahead, and there I will train 5 cavalry. This cavalry is chilling out, and once those 5 cavalry men are being trained, I will go for a rush, and by that time there will also be no deer anymore. I am building a barracks, and my opponent will probably go to the next phase once these 5 women are being completed. And there he goes. And I'm just waiting till the 5 last cavalry men are coming out of the CC, and then I will get it forward. There they are, and I'm also advancing to phase 2. So that's an early phase 2 for me. An advantage Seleucids get is the military colony, where they can train their mercenaries, and military colony also provides a few other extras such as population space and such. Here Dakawas is on the barracks and he directly noticed that my cavalry are coming. Oh, it was just an accident because he wanted to build the embassy anyways. So I am moving out, and he's also sending units after my cavalry, and I'm just killing several women. So that's a KD of 6 to 1 right now, and I'm just running away. And this cavalryman is getting in front of the spearman, so that will be an easy target. Okay, it gets away, and I run around this embassy, get a few extra kills, and I lose another cavalry unit. So that's a KD of 2 to 9, and his units are also fairly idle. I could have chosen to turn around a little earlier and to kill the cavalryman, but the cavalryman will just go away. And I see the embassy, and the embassy will soon drop 5 cavalry units, and these units are faster than mine, so they can catch them out. And will I be losing more cavalry? It seems like I will get a hit or 2 and then I will back off. So I might run a bit. No hits taken here, and in the meantime I have a colony, and this colony is something I can use to train my own mercenary spear cavalry, and those units do have a bonus against sword cavalry. However, their attack rate is really slow, and that means that spear cavalry are often not the preferred units. And normally spear cavalry would be very bad. They wouldn't perform well against ranged units, and they only perform half decent against other cavalry units because of their slow attack rate. And we see that they have a 1.75 counter against cavalry, and that's largely being offset by the fact that their attack interval is 1.25, and the sword cavalry has an attack interval of 0.75. There's another embassy. Some metal has been mined here. This is a Gallic mercenary cavalry, and Dakawas is currently assembling them in the CC, and he will attack once he has a number of them. And I think that's really sloppy, because there are advantages to be taken. These women are also idle, and in the meantime I'm harassing these archers, and the archers are an easy target. These cavalry might attack slowly, however, they do have good hit points and good armor. And the fact that I've killed some archers here does also mean that he has less metal income for extra mercenaries, so that's an advantage which I took. My javelin cavalry are slower than his sword cavalry. So I'm just splitting them up, hoping that he will chase the spear cavalry and the javelin cavalry are safe. I have built a stable. That's not especially because I think training javelin cavalry is super useful with water, because I want to eventually do the speed upgrade. But the speed upgrade means that my javelin cavalry in the future will be able to escape against the sword cavalry, and it also means that my spear cavalry will be able to chase down his sword cavalry. So here we take a fight, and I do have the sword cavalry, I do have the spearmen in here. Some of them are chopping wood, which most of them are chopping wood, so that's really sloppy. I've heard about also some which are involved in the fights. Currently we are both turning around because he sees my infantry around here, and I do not want to take a fight without my infantry. So I went back and he turns around again, and we will probably continue doing things like this. And we see that the kill death ratio is still fairly even, or it hasn't changed a lot since these initial engagements. The cavalry which were in this corner have moved back, and when we look at populations, I'm ahead by a little, not by that much, but it's still a small lead. Do I have any damaged cavalry units being stored somewhere? I don't think so. So this is my cavalry army. I made a cavalry archer, which is a mistake, because the cavalry archer is slower, so it will slow my army down. And here the sword cavalry come in for a raid, and I don't know if I've spotted them. Probably not. But one of the advantages of Seleucids in a military colony is that I have 6 fields, but only 3 of them are around the CC, and 3 of them are around in the military colony. And that means that if he would attack the women which are on these fields, all the women would fit in the military colony. And the same would go for the CC. I have probably seen these mercenaries passing by, and I've reacted by sending spearmen over there. But in the meantime we were also doing other things. And this is a battle which the numbers are pretty similar, and the sword cavalry will probably take the better engagement. Here I try to build another CC or another military colony, but my units get slaughtered, so that's a little bit of a misplay, and these units are still sitting out here. So what I probably should do is delete this colony, because only one single hit and the colony will be vanished, and that's 500 resources down to 20. Here are some spear cavalry which have followed the opposing cavalry, and I think 3 of them go down, and they take down sword cavalry. And we start fighting here again, and here are a few infantry that aren't doing particularly a lot and not doing a good job either. And we see some fights happening. We see that the KD is fairly even. Now however, Douglas is getting the better, and it also means that he takes the population lead, and that's mainly because I have had a lot of women which is slaughtered here. The reason which I built this colony is because there are no trees here anymore. That really puts me under stress because I have barely any wood income right now. We see that Dakara still hasn't built barracks. He does have a blacksmith, but he hasn't used it yet. And I see that he's running away. I think it's probably not time to strike at him while he is weak. I don't expect him to have a lot of infantry, which is not really true since he has more infantry than I have. And there my forces get butchers. And this is an easy spearman to take out. When it comes to cavalry, I am ahead in numbers. However, this metal has run out for Dakaras. Here, there's some metal here, so that's good for him. He does have all his cavalry currently garrisoned in his CC, which will make the CC very defensible, and I think about raiding the farms, and then I quickly discover that this CC fires a lot of arrows, so I kill the Roman and then I just back off. When it comes to populations, we see that Dakaras has a lead of 15 or 18 now, and since I do have so many damaged cavalry, I decide to make a temple to heal them. And let's take a look what is happening more. I'm training some spearmen from garrison and cavalry, and I'm training a few more of them. And one of the advantages of this colony is also that it can train women. I don't know. I think I'm short on food indeed. Not really. I could train a lot of women here if I wanted to. This farm has a little dubious placement of this field, and most of my production buildings aren't working. Okay. Currently, I have my most damaged units in the temple. These ones seem to have all full HP, so they don't need to be in the temple. There are some barracks which I could use. There's also a metal right here in between us. And now there will be a little infantry attack with the cavalry. And Dakaras has also added some spear cavalry. And I directly noticed this amount of units coming towards me. And here we fight. And I'm quickly to realize this is not probably a good fight. So I'm retreating towards the temple. And my spear cavalry are getting some extra HP boost. But once they get low, I do a nice quick and I garrison them in the temple. And probably when they are in the temple, I should probably directly have garrisoned them towards the colony. The colony is already full, so that's not really an option. But it does currently shoot 12 arrows, and that meant those spearmen were able to be killed. And this fight probably wasn't the best for Dakaras because he is still in the lead when it comes to kills. The population gap has been bridged. Okay, so Dakaras also has a temple now to heal his units. Not all of them fit in them. He has a few one which are elite, and those ones who aren't elite are mostly javelin cavalry. So he's now collecting this metal, and he's collecting it with mainly spearmen, so that means that unlike earlier I won't be able to kill this infantry easy. And currently Dakras has reached phase 3, and that's also something which has cost him in terms of population. And I'm trying to see if this metal is vulnerable, because I realize my metal is running out, so his metal must be low as well. And we have some cavalry fights here, and there are also some spearmen, so I decided just to run away. Some casualties were cast on the wood line. I think that's more by accident than by plan. Okay, so I decided I need a storehouse here, could be useful, and I decided just to run away. So I take another angle to attack. I decide let's go around this way and raid some fields, and we see that Douglas has only 4 fields the entire game, so that's something nice. If you are playing with mercenaries, you don't need a lot of fields. And I do see the arsenal, and I knew my opponent in phase 3. One of the reasons why I want to be at phase 3 is to produce siege, and that's also one of the reasons why I produce an arsenal, and I just directly capture the arsenal and delete it. When we look at upgrades, Lakiras still has mostly phase 1 upgrades and some hack upgrades, and I ran away to my base, but partly because I was afraid that if he would fight here, his infantry would join the battle, and that would be a good way to lose your cavalry. And currently I don't decide to come towards his base and to fight in the temple and etc. So I probably also am planning to do different things. I am building a second barracks, and something which strikes me as odd is that Tigers did not have speed upgrade, which means that my cavalry can easier escape from his. And again, I want to fight in the temple, so whenever he is chasing me, I run towards the temple. And I also have some skirmishes nearby, which can deal good damage, 16 damage per 1.25 seconds. And these cavalry, I wanted to pick a sword cavalry. So a sword cavalry has 12.4 damage per every 0.75 seconds, so that means they only do 33% extra damage compared to my Japanese. And I also saw that there was some cavalry running in the back of my base, and because this cavalry does not have the speed upgrade, and these spear cavalry are significantly faster, they will all go down easy. And when we compare populations I have pulled ahead, that's probably partly because I do have a lot of farms and my opponent does not. And my opponent realizes I'm chasing this group, and they stood there for a moment, which means they will be easy pickings. I did have the plus 10% HP, and I decided to go for the berries. I've also decided to build another colony here to get access to this metal, because I currently have run out of metal, and I think also the prices at the market, well, they aren't bad, but I don't have a lot of wood either, I guess. And I could maybe trade some food at the market.
Yes, see? Yes, see?
And here we have a battle, and the Dakiris can be very happy about having the rams, but if you don't have the units to support them, that's useless. And he very goodly takes out a temple. The disappointment for him will be that the rams are more expensive than the temple he destroyed, and he will probably also destroy the colony. But again, those 3 rams were more expensive than the colony and the temple combined. That's 450 resources per ram. We lost 3 of them, and the colony is 480 resources, 300 resources for the temple, and some build time. So not the worst, but not the best either. It's an even trade, and if you would have invested those resources in, let's say, extra upgrades for its units, you would be better off. And now I want an extra colony, and this colony has been destroyed, but it gives me the advantage to place a colony in a better position. And here we do have a 5000 metal, and that's really nice if you're going for a mercenary heavy strategy. And when you play a game like this as Seleucids against Carthagians, you really need extra metal, because you're learning to work a lot of metal. We see 2 barracks being built here, and in the meantime I also am stuck at 2. However, I have been able to possess them for a longer time than my opponent, and I do have already 180 infantry. Okay, so what's my cavalry doing? These ones are being healed. I've already produced the priest from the previous temple, and probably I do have some cavalry in here, and if I'm quick I will be able to send them towards the temple. The ones which are probably most damaged are the spear cavalry, because they have the most HP. They also just take the longest to recover. And here I'm collecting metal. I could use a storehouse. And when we look to the number of farms, it are still 2 from Dagaras and 2 embassies. And he has really fallen behind in population. He mined a lot of metal, but the metal seems now gone, and he could still trade wood fairly effectively at the market, which can be as effective as just chopping trees. It doesn't have the first wood upgrade, so that's really something which he could improve on. So, and there are some cavalry going back and forth right here, and I've also noticed that these cavalry are running around. I've also noticed these rams, and I'm just waiting when he makes a move. And we have just been patrolling for the last half a minute our cavalry, and we're just waiting where we each will show up. And he decides to go for my CC, and I've already spotted that. When it comes to the numbers, this cavalry unit is running away, and that can be very useful, because he might have 20 of his cavalry units just chasing one single cavalry unit of mine. Okay, finally there it goes. And these spear cavalry are not being useful right now. And there again he has 2 rams taking out my CC. The CC will probably go down. Okay, these units could join the battle. And there are only a handful of cavalry on his side, right here. Well, my spear cavalry outnumbered them. And these cavalry, they are attacking rams, which is a waste of time for them. And CC goes down. So that's a pity, but I do have 2 colonies which do around my territory control. And I've lost CC, but I think, hey, who cares? I just built a colony here, which is a lot cheaper, and it can produce mercenaries. There is a disadvantage about colonies, and that's something I will discover rather soon. My population is closing in towards being 300. And once my population is close to 300, you probably want to go towards phase 3. However, there is a little inconvenience because the colony cannot research phase 3. I currently do not have the resources, but that will big me out a little bit. I built some extra barracks because I want to use my cavalry numbers, and to use your army you need to have a good amount, and fortress is being built here, and my first instinct is to back away because I see the fortress, which I do right here, and then I decided, hey, I can maybe stop it, and there we fight. And I have my I think these skirmishes attack the buildings, and these ones are attacking these cavalry units are attacking the fortress, and that means no fortress, and the fortress is one of the advantages you get in phase 3, and he isn't able to use this advantage. And well, currently the population difference is huge. Something interesting is when you capture an embassy, you can use it to train your the Carthaginian mercenaries. And because I do have the numbers right here, and he is lacking the numbers, I am just capturing all the buildings in the back. Okay. So I think this must have changed between alphas, because if you captured a barracks in Alpha 24, you would only be able to train the units which you had in common with your opponent. So the opponent can train spear and archers, and because in Alpha 24 I only could train spearmen, out of spear and archers, I would in Alpha 24 only have been able to train spearmen here. That changed, I guess. I garrison one unit here, and okay, I see there are units garrisoned in this temple, so this temple is something I leave alone. No, I don't leave it alone very much. And I probably also see that I can now train sword mercenaries myself, so I put a cavalry unit in there to be able to keep it. I've got a house here, and I delete the houses. I thought I garrisoned a unit in this barracks, but I didn't, so there it goes. And I'm just destroying everything while I'm still in phase 2. I wanted to go to phase 3 and I needed a civic center for that, so here is the new civic center. And I will probably also check how many ammo shoots this CC. It shoots a number of them, so I decided that I know there are a few houses here for the taking, which I will delete. And if you look to how much population space Dakeras has, he has only 80 population space. So there are 4 houses in total, and that are 2 CCs. What Dakeras could have done, as the Carthagians, is research this technology. If you research this technology, houses will become 25% cheaper, and also civic centers will get 25% cheaper. So if you research this technology, it pays back after you build one civic center. These are Javelin cavalry who are just being stationed here, and I am at phase 3. And what do you want? As for a hero in phase 3, which you can nicely train from the CC as Seleucids, with this army composition of over 100 cavalry, will probably give you preference to Antiochus the Great. And I also see that my opponent's territory has expanded, so I'm just taking a look here, and I'm building some extra stables to be able to maintain a high population. I do not know what the population of my opponent is, and I was thinking that he probably has over 100 population in this corner, and that was really an overestimation. And so we will have a fight here, and soon Dakeras will resign, and it will be before I have been able to produce my first ram. Some players like to delete some of their women before they, if they are pop cut and can't produce things like rams. I'm not really a big fan of deleting women, and my opponent has resigned, and that's the game. And which this game shows is that you can resist Carthaginian mercenary cavalry as Seleucids, so it's not entirely OP. However, what you need to do is to keep an eye on those cavalry all the game, and to force them to chase you, for example, and that's something which I did. And if you do so, you can get victory against Carthaginians, and Seleucids are especially gifted for that. And if you look to the KD, we see that I had a very good start. This was at the moment when my opponent invested 1,000 resources in phase 2, and he also started building his embassy. And right when you build your embassy, you are vulnerable because you've already invested 200 wood in the embassy. I think it was 200 stone for an Iberian embassy, and you have not gained any return on that yet. And yeah, there were some situations where I really took bad fights, but I was able to stabilize and to get a better economy to work for me. If you look to the populations, we see that I really got behind when I tried to build my second colony, where I really took a heavy hit, but I recovered from that. If you look just to the units killed. You see that I'm steadily everywhere still increasing the units killed, even where I dropped here. And the point of, let's say, past 12 minutes, except attacker has gained a lot more right here. So, well, that's the game. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've also liked to see how such a 1v1 plays out. And I hope to see you in the next video.